Lockdown Workshop. I'm your host, Mark, and this is a GX240 Honda engine. Well, I think it's a Mark-on 4 kilowatt generator on it. Quite an old setup. You can tell by the engine looking at it. Though these engines did have electric start as well. This one doesn't. But they did have electric start option on them. You can tell it's quite an old setup just by the switchgear that's on it. You won't find that on a modern box. I think it's been heavily customised. There's a standard UK 3-pin socket on the other side, which you wouldn't find on a construction site, and this is a construction setup. You can tell because of the way it's built. It's not a domestic one. It's got 110 volt on one side, 240 flapper there, and then in the same panel over there it's got a domestic UK 3-pin plug. I don't know what that's for there, whether that's a 12 volt out or a trailing line out. It's probably on the 110 side. So it'll be a fairly standard setup, similar thing to the States. It'll be 2 legs of 110 that they bring together to give you a 240 volt over there. So that'll be one leg, that's probably another leg, and then it's combined over the other side. You've got your two 240s. What else can I say about it? Why is it here? So Jerry, who brings me the bikes that generally just fall to pieces in a pile on the floor, she runs a bouncy castle company, so it's I won't read the name out in case she doesn't want it advertising. But she runs a bouncy castle company, and this is the generator that one of the generators she uses. Normally no problems at all, starts regularly. Really difficult to start, and what do I know about it? So that's all I've got so far. It's difficult to start. Can I get it so it starts again and runs again? I think it wasn't running particularly well. I haven't really had a proper look at it. I did want to have a look down there to see what state the air thing was in, but I couldn't get that off, so I soaked a bit of WD-40 around the plastic. I think the plastic had just been over tightened on there, so that did pop off yesterday, but I didn't have a chance to have a look at it, so I don't know what's under there. I did take a look in the fuel tank, see if there was any fuel in it, and see how smelly it was. Doesn't smell too bad actually. It's a little bit ripe. It's probably got some fuel in that was pre-E10, so it's probably E5 fuel. I think if it had been E10 we might have had a few problems. Could be E10, don't know. What I did notice though is the tank is quite, I won't say heavily rusted, but it is rusted in the bottom. So I am suspecting we've got a carburettor issue. I suspect we'll probably find we've got spark. Carburettor's not performing properly. So what we're going to do is we'll get it running, we'll give it a service. I have got some evapor rust. Look at me, I've turned into James Corden and Musty all in one go. So one of the first things we'll do is we'll get the tank off, because I'm anticipating that we will need to get the carburettor in. I'll get the parts washer, the ultrasonic that's down there. I only emptied it the other day. Get that out. I might stick that over there actually out of the way. Plug it in. Yeah, we'll stick that over there. Means I'm going to clear up. Anyway, right. Let's tear into it. I'll bring you back when I've got the. I've set up got the ultrasonic set up and get that cooking, get that up to temperature, and then I'll start tearing it down to get the fuel tank off. We might do a few basic checks before I take the fuel tank off, but the fuel tank's got to come off anyway, so it's almost immaterial. I really don't want to be drawing anything through there anyway, so I'm not going to be proving anything. It's got one of those taps on the bottom of the carburettor that's built into the plastic cowling, so it's quite difficult to isolate the fuel from the carburettor, so I don't want it drawing anything in if it's contaminated anyway and making it worse. So we'll get the tank off, we'll test for spark, see if it's got spark first. I might chuck some stuff down the carburettor, see if we can get it to pop off, and then we'll know it's definitely the carburettor. If we've got spark and I'm chucking stuff down, it still doesn't pop off. It could be we've got something. We could have an issue with compression. So it could be valve seats or piston rings or something like that. So we'll test for blow by. I don't know how many hours it's got on it. I'm guessing by the age of it that this has been around the block a few times. So the engine's going to be pretty tired. So I'm not going to get too excited about that. Oh, and check for oil. That'd help, wouldn't it? Right. Anyway, okay, waffled enough. Right then, let's get this fuel tank off. So I'm not going to be anywhere near as good as Krusty 1 and James Corden is, because I haven't done many of these engines, but it looks like it's just some big aluminium brackets. 1, 2, 3 with studs. They look about 10 mil, but could be wrong because obviously these. Actually, no, this is a Honda engine, so it should be millimetres and not imperial. So because it's a Honda engine, they'll probably be 11 or 12, some odd size. Instead of 10, 12. There you go. So it's definitely not imperial. 12. I'm not going to get the jigger on it because I don't know how bad these bolts are going to be. It's quite tight. I came off without any dramas. That's one. One in there. I'm looking at my bald spot. I've had to. I haven't done many generators. I've only got a small suitcase generator myself, and it's an induction one. Was it an inverter one? I can't remember. It's the one that's got the capacitors anyway. So there's not really a lot we can do with them. They don't have a voltage regulator on them. They're generally all right. But what I haven't got is a way of telling if the engine revs are right. My tachometer is just something that you clip over the spark plug line, and it's for motorbikes. It's not really that accurate. So you need to set these quite accurate. So what I have bought is something that's similar to what you see some of the Americans using, the kilowatt. So I bought one of them, so it will at least give me an indication of watts. I bet there's another bolt under there that I can't get to behind that panel there. Yep, there is. Right, so I'm going to get that off as well. That definitely looks like a 10. Well put together, these engines, but Honda, for the small engines, generally they've got the market. There's nobody else does it. You know, there's other people that make them, but they're not near as good as this. The problem is I can't. That's the light for low oil. Oh, there is another one in there. There's another one hiding at the back. If my socket's long enough. That is just. What I don't want to do is take so much off it that I can't actually test and run it, because I'm going to put it all back on again. I do have an alternative fuel source I can hook up. This screw here smacks of being an absolute basket case to get back in. That's not too bad. That just hangs down. so we can still operate that. That's the kill switch and the low oil warning light. So, right. Should be another one behind there now. Oh, there we go. There it is. So if it had an electric start, that's where the electric start would go, there. But it's blanked off on this engine, so it obviously wasn't an option. But the casting's probably the same casting as another model that's similar. Hey, look at that. Right. Fuel line. Right. Question is, do I try and take it off the bottom of here? God, that looks a bit shit. Right. You can't see this. But getting it off there, you can just about see the bottom of the pipe. So whether or not I can persuade it to come off without damaging it. So mind you, I've got plenty of pipe. Hopefully I've got this size. Something a bit more friendly on the knuckles if I slip. Interestingly, there doesn't appear to be a, or if there is, I can't see it. Well, there might be. I think it is starting to move actually. Trouble is, if it just flies off, it's just going to start leaking everywhere. Oh, there we go. Oh, thankfully there wasn't enough fuel. There wasn't much fuel in it, but that fuel line looks a bit suspect. You can see it's quite. That's been leaking. So hopefully it's not rotted through. Because like I said, there was rust on the. You can get new fuel tanks for this, but yeah, that's definitely leaking. I don't know whether it's leaking round there, or whether it's leaking through a pinhole in the rust. So we'll drain it down. We'll stick some evapor rust in it. So I'll just drain that down now. Stay. There's a date on the bottom of that. Or it's a code at least. So I'll try and empty this in. Hopefully it won't take hours. Yeah. That might be an issue. There's no fuel coming out. There's very little fuel in there. Looks like it's been leaking a while. Right. There is a little bit round there. I'm just trying to work out if it's leaking out of there. But no, there's nothing in there. It's just let's see if I can show you what I'm seeing. Don't get me musty light. Ooh. Play. Can you see what I see? Yeah, it's pretty scabby down there. Trying to get the light shining so you can see well. Yeah, you can see that. We're going to need to clean that out anyway, so we'll stick some evapor rust in that and leave that soaking, and then we'll find out whether the fuel tank's any good or not. Might need a new fuel tank. I don't think they're that expensive. I think you could buy a whole kit with a fuel tank and a carburettor for about 30 something. Unboxing time. So I did say I bought some Evaporust. This was a little bit cheaper than Evaporust, and the main reason I still have it upside down. The main reason I bought this one is because I could get it on next day, because the Evaporust was going to take about a few days to get here. So it's equivalent stuff. Rust remover. Right. Does the same stuff. You can use it and then chuck it back in again. Use spray or dip tank. So you can just chuck it straight in, swirl it round, back out again. So we're going to chuck it in there. We'll block up that. Hole. We'll put a clamp on it. You can find the clamp. Oh, I can't find the clamp. I better sent the other toolbox up, didn't I? That's irritating. Right, I shall have to shove a screw in or something. See if one of these will do. Right. Don't need to go nuts, just need a covering on the bottom. Suppose I have to try and clear it out, but hey ho. Well, that worked well. I didn't want you to get in here, did they? Yeah, just stick your fingers in the acid mark, it'll be fine. Well, a nice clean funnel. Not. Because that'll probably be alright. So it just pours straight out the bottom. And I waste. It's not cheap, this stuff either. I know old Krusty chucks it around like it's going out of fashion, but obviously, I think he's got flipping Evaporust sponsorship. Right, where's the lid gone? Lid doesn't look too bad. I'm not worried about that. Give it a swirl around. It's already leaking. It's a good start. Right. Let me set it aside somewhere where I'm not going to keep tripping over it every 2 seconds. It can drip it out content. I think it's leaking around the seal, but we'll have a look at that. Yeah, the engine's in a bit of a mess. That's interesting. Right, yeah, that's the governor plate. So, right, sorry, let me take a look at this. Other than the obvious great chunks that are sat in places that probably shouldn't be sat there. I'm pretty sure that doesn't want to be there. That won't have been doing the governor any good. Right, that's the governor. That comes through from in the engine. There'll be a spinny, rotatey thing on there that pushes that to one side. There's a tension spring there. When the pushy thing exceeds the spring of the tension, it pushes that way. And when it does that, it shuts off the throttle that's on the other end of this linkage here, and you can adjust the governor with this throttle plate here. So on a normal thing, that throttle plate would be loose-ish, and there'd be some amount of movement that you could do to turn the speed up or the speed down, but it would be a consistent speed when you hold it there. So you turn it up, you go up revs and hold it. Because this is a generator, you need to fix them at for 52. So you want to be about, in the UK we're 50 hertz. And the reason in the UK we don't have this obsession with kilowatts and things is because our power is actually quite good, but in the States I gather that their frequency does pitch and fold and stuff. It's a lot bigger country. There's lots more stretched infrastructure. Our country's a lot smaller, and the infrastructure's been around for quite a while, and it doesn't go across great plains that have got to deal with tornadoes and crap like that. So our power is fairly consistent at 50, and that's what the UK standard is, 50, 240 volt, 50 hertz. In the States, it's about 60. So you normally set your generators between 60, 61, 62 hertz, so that if you get any lag, it drops down. In the UK, you just set it to 50. So you divide it by, you times it by 60, and that 50 times by 60 is 3,000 RPM. So a generator to produce 50 hertz needs to be at 3,000 RPM, and you adjust that until you get 3,000 RPM, which is at the generator end 50 hertz, and that there pushes that, which one way or the other, which increases or decreases the spring tension, which then allows that to control the throttle at a different speed. So that's how that works anyway. Right, so let's get the air filter off and have a look at that. Voyage of Discovery. So that does come off now. That doesn't look too clever. Yeah, that's petrified. Jenny's asked me to do a service anyway, so it'll be getting a new filter on. Don't lose that, because I'm guaranteed that will be a pig to find. Yeah, that's a fairly standard filter for these. Put that out of the way. So that's your inlet down there. The rest of this gubbins is just a cowling to cover up the carburettor, so you can't get to it. There's a fuel tap in there, and there's your chokes there as well. So the top one's your choke, the bottom one's your fuel. So that's fuel on, fuel off, choke, unchoked. So what we can do is we can let's do it properly. Let's see if it's got some spark first. So actually, one thing I will do before we go any further, let's see what it has been up to. Interesting. There's only one spark plug remover in this kit. The other one's got about 4 in it. Is it a big one? It is a big one. Because that's easy, isn't it? It doesn't want a snotty silicone one. I'm sure that did come off after all that. You're going, why are you taking that out? It could be cross-threaded, and then you've got to deal with the issue of it. Well, if it is cross-threaded, that's not my problem. That will probably be causing it not to run very well. But we said we'd give it a service anyway, so the service kit I bought has got another spark plug in it, so it would have been getting a spark plug anyway. A bit stiff, this. I was starting to get a bit worried then. We were winding that many threads out. No, the threads look clean. It's not brought any block out with it. That is a bit rusty. That is a bit worrying. So I don't know if you can see that. That's rusty. Or it's running very lean. But that looks like rust, which I'm hoping we haven't got water in the carburettor. We shouldn't have done because of the way sits, but it is slightly dished, so it could be that water has got in there. I think it's more likely we've had water in the fuel tank, to be honest. There's water coming, got in through the fuel tank somehow, because it was rusty at the bottom, so who knows. Maybe it's been run without the lid on. But anyway, that's spark plug's out, so we'll stick that back in now. Now we've took it out. Might just give it a quick. Oh god, the electrode is pretty scabby. Might just give that the redneck. I can't remember where I put that either. This is the problem. We're in the middle of moving, so all the tools I use are. Oh no, it's on here. We haven't packed this one away yet. So if one of the things you can do is it burns off all the deposits. Looks a little bit better now. Right. I'll squirt a bit of grease on that. I don't want it in there anymore. I don't like putting spark plugs in with the tool. I'd much rather feel the threads. So I know that they're biting, though this exhaust pipe is not in the. Yeah, see, it was in at an angle. There's nowhere I'd have seen that with this in. How's me ultrasonic doing? That's getting up to temperature now. Shove that on. That's not annoying. That's going in a bit better than it came out. No, there's no sign it was cross-threaded on the threads. There's no sign that we got any aluminium deposits or anything. Come on, give me it back. Oh. Right, next. Whee! Trevor noises. What about my spark plug tester? Ricky! My wife's gone to bed early because she's on a bat survey, so the dog barking outside is not going to make me the most popular person in the world. Right, can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. We'll see if we've got a spark anyway. There is an on-off switch somewhere. There's a kill switch. Oh, see, we took it off, didn't we? So turn that on. Oh yeah. It's got plenty of sparkles. I don't know if these have got an electronic ignition or a condenser point system, but if your spark's yellow and not blue, it means your condenser's knackered. Right, should we give it a squirt of something nice to eat? Air intake and carburetor cleaner. So just open the carb. Give that a good healthy dose of that. See what we get. No wrong with that. Fires straight up. So, as suspected, we've got a carburetor issue. All we need to do now is just get the carb off, get it in the ultrasonic. The ultrasonic's up to a staggering 28 degrees. We'll give it about 15 minutes on there. In the meantime, I'll give this a bit of a clean up, but it's not going to make much difference, to be honest, and I don't think it really needs it because of where it's going to get used in that, but it is definitely leaking fuel out of the fuel tank, so it'll at least give us a clue as to what's going on with that, if I can give this a bit of a clean up. Let's make it look a little bit pretty. Leave that to sit on there for a bit. What we didn't do is check to see if it was going to make any power. I think I binned. I got a little hold it lamp, one of these old-fashioned lamps like you used to have, inspection lamps in the old days, like we used to have. I think I binned it, to be honest. I think it's buried at the bottom of here somewhere, never to be seen again. Because it got an old bulb in, it was plastic, and I thought, do you know what, I probably won't need that. And then lo and behold, I've got a generator. Oh, there's a plug over there. What's that attached to? Oh, that's attached to that. I know what that's attached to. Oh, it's attached to that. I don't know where the lights have gone. Ah, it's here. I didn't throw it out. Yay! Right. So if you ever watched James Corden, he always has one of these. Now, the only thing with this is, it is a fluorescent bulb, so it might take a bit of persuading to get it to light up. So just a bit of love juice from this might not be enough, but we shall find out. Is the power on? I don't know what 1 and 2 means. 2, 1. Are we ready? Watch the light. Can you see the light? Lights. Cool. There you go. I knew I didn't throw that out for a reason. I'm sure I've got an incandescent bulb I can put in that. Whew. It's a bit smeggy in here already. I could have fed it with that, but to be honest, all I need is just to give it a quick boost. Right, so let's get that carburetor off. Let me find a really shitty rag just to clean it up a bit before we take it off. Look at that, see? You're so pretty. I didn't get some wire wool on that. That looks like it's burnt something. Oh, look at the colour of that. That's a lovely, that's a proper 1970s colour, that one. Yeah, that's been leaking for a while, that has. It's got horrible petrified fuel all over it. Yeah, look, I'll clean that up off camera while we're waiting for the thing to heat up. I just wanted to get a little bit of rubbish off this so I don't end up caked in it while I'm trying to take it off. You can sit there. Right, looks like this top cowling piece has just a 10mm bolt on it. Let's get the extension lead. Right, so like that is it. So we're going to get them two off as well. Because that's not annoying. Like every other generator I've seen people work on YouTube. And what, trust me, I've seen a lot of generators worked on YouTube. Oops. That reminds me, I've got a competition this weekend. It's I'm not. Oh, I did finish third in the end. I think I definitely could have won that if I'd have known I was in contention for it. Right, that's off. So as you see, that's just a housing. Takes the air through there, just ducts it into there and into the thing. Just checking there's no seals or anything on there. It looks like it's just a mated surface. There's probably a seal on the other bit. Yeah, there we go. So we just need to mentally note which way that goes in. So there is a hole there and a hole there. So there's only really one way that can go on. So that's easy enough. Chuck that in there. We'll give that a bit of a clean. The mating surface on the back looks okay. Doesn't look like there's been any blow by or anything. Just check the choke position. That's good. Just check the throttle as well. Check that's not stuck. No, that's fine. Throttle linkage is okay. So what you need to do with these is you've just got to keep looking at making sure that when you undo things there's no holes. So if I turn that, it won't go any further than that, which is not particularly helpful. But if you bend it, you should be able to get it out of that. I thought those caps came off or bounced out of the way, but don't appear to be able to. Are you with me? Right, so I'll bring you a little bit closer. So basics of a carburettor: float bowl, so it's like your toilet cistern. Fuel comes in there. There's a lot of sediment trap there. That's sometimes on the bottom of the tank. That's your fuel shut-off petcock valve. Again, sometimes on the bottom of the tank if you have that already. But if you don't have that, you'll just have one of those going straight into the side. It literally feeds straight into that bowl there. There's usually a breather outlet somewhere to let the air come out again, usually inside there, which is a bit of a downside because if your float's not working, your bowl cock in your toilet, it fills up and then it runs inside the engine, soaks past the piston rings and fills up the oil with petrol, and then when you try to crank it over, you end up hydrolocking the engine and potentially breaking stuff. What we will do is we will have a quick, see if I can find something to drain that into. The reason I want to do that is I would like to see if there's any water in it. I thought I got some lids. All I want is a crappy lid. That's rubbish. Again, we've been tidying up. I don't really want to tip it into the bowl I'm going to be working in. Oh, there's one there. It's not the best thing, but I will be able to see if there's any water in it from that. So we'll just crack open the drain cover. I like to use a screwdriver because oh god, there's rust in there as well. Right, so there's no fuel in there, but which is good actually. That might have saved it, because if it was high octane fuel. So again, I try not to use sockets on these where I can, or if I do, I use small ones. Right, so that just holds the bowl on. You need to be careful because some of these are actually the main jet as well. So there'll be a hole in the side there and a hole in the end there, and that's actually your main jet. Couple of taps to get that off. Straight off this time, so just have a look. Right, so we've got a lot of crap in there. Bit of varnish, bit of rust. You can see it's powdering. So there's only one place that's going, and that's in there. That's where your main jet is, up inside there. This is your float. So what you're looking for is that when that's down, it's flat. It's not up there or it's not down there. That is pressing down on a little needle in there to do that. So I hope I've not just broken that. No. That's the control arm for that, but we'll get that off. That may or may not go in the parts washer. So that's positive feel. Right, so the main jet is under there. The pilot jet on most of these carburetors, even the clones, is actually this plastic block there. And you get to that by taking out the idle screw, because the idle screw doesn't actually do anything on a fixed rev thing. It never idles. It always runs at only that one speed. So you never idle them. So that idle jet's not really used a great deal. So it's the only reason it's still there is to basically hold that down. That's the pilot jet. So you just got to get under the edge of that and just pop it out. There you go. So that's the piece that holds it in place. That's the jet itself. So that looks. It's not too bad. There's a little bit of muck in there. What you want to check for is that it's actually got the O-ring on the bottom, and that's not damaged. So that can't go in the parts washer because it's got an O-ring on, and I don't fancy taking it off. But it looks okay anyway. I'll just give it a blast with some of that. Just have a look at the pin. It's a plastic jet, so this must be a reasonably new engine then, because if it's less than 2000, from 2000 onwards, they were preparing for the high octane fuels. Sorry, the high ethanol fuels. So there's a lot more plastic parts. On the older ones, that would have been brass. But it eats the brass. So that still feels quite squidgy. So I'm quite optimistic about this one, that we will get a result. It does make the plastic go brittler as well, so you just need to be careful about that. So I'm just having a look down there, see if there's anything down there. What we can do is just make sure there's no rubbish in that. Just get a Q-tip. Sorry, a cotton bud. I'm not in America. A little bit of WD-40. Just give it a little polish. I've seen people stick them on the end of the drills. I've seen Krusty do that, but this is plastic, so I really don't want to burn it up. There's a little bit of muck in there, so I don't think this was the issue. It didn't appear to be leaking fuel back into the carburetor. There was no signs of that. There is a rubber seal around there. It's in place, so I'm inclined to leave it in place because I haven't got another one. And if you take them out, I might not get it back in again. We're going to leave that. We'll just chuck the whole body in as it is. Just give it a chance to give it a good soak. That's your air mixture. So that's your fuel air mixture. So that's usually 1 to 1.5 turns out. So we'll just turn that in. Half, 1, half, 2, 2.5, 2.5. That's interesting. So half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. But we'll take that out. That can get cleaned. Where's my carb cleaner? I'll just give it a bit of help, clean some of these out. Where's the, oh, we ain't got the main jet out yet, but I'll... Good job I had my safety glasses on then. Because carb cleaner is not the most pleasant stuff in the world. Ah. That's a bit worrying. That was blocked. That's interesting. Try that again for a minute. Hold on. Let me try it that way. That was actually blocked as well. That's interesting. Yeah, I've put quite a lot down there to blast that out. I think I might get the sediment bowl off as well, just in case there's anything in there, because we'll clean it and it'll just wash straight back into the engine again. Yeah, that's pretty scabby as well. Just clear that a quick. Right. A couple of these breather holes. Right, so we've just got the just give that a quick go out. So you've got to be careful with these, with your screwdrivers, that they don't have a hard edge on them, because there are threads in here, and you don't want to think they shouldn't be tight in here, but they can get corroded in. That popped off quite easily. That my face is starting to burn now. There you go. So that's your main jet. It looks pretty scabby. That's a lot clearer. Right, there is also an emulsion tube in here as well. So that's the bit that vaporizes the fuel. You can get this out, but it doesn't always come out. So it's just, there's a, inside there, oh, there you go, it's fallen out anyway. So that's it. It sits up inside there. You can usually see it sits proud down there. Just give it a tap with the screwdriver. It usually pops out. And what you're looking for is, right, that's quite heavily blocked. I can see that now. So we'll give that a quick swirl as well. Right, I can see that not all those jets are, no, they are now. Yeah, they're clear now. They weren't before. So there's a few extras there. So what I might do is hold it that side and squirt it on the inside. That's it. Right, we'll get that in the ultrasonic. Right, so we'll put all this lot into the cooking pot, and we'll let it fester. Except for the bits that we can't. Soup bin's ready. Ew. Right, if you met, I don't know if I showed you on the other video. This was all a bit scabby the other day. It had gone mouldy. The cleaning solution I use is organic. Right, so the body itself can go in. I would have liked to have got this out, but I can't see I can get that out without damaging it. Chuck that in just to clean it. Chuck that in. That can go in like that. That can go in. And then the rest of these bits, we'll put them in the little tea bag strainers. So these weren't, this is a classic of Amazon, not looking like what it is you were after. I was after something that was about that big, like Krusty's got and James Corden's got and some of the others, but that wasn't what I ended up with. Is that going to fit in there? Yep. Right, so we'll chuck them in and get the other one. Right, I'm not sure I want to put that in, to be honest, because it's got rubber on it, or that. We will put that in though. Those other bits we'll just have to blow them off. Where? Yeah, come on, let go. Alright. I'm going to give that a good long, well actually you can have a quick squidge in there if you want. What's it doing in the pan? What shall we have for time? Probably about 20 minutes. 30 minutes? Get 30 minutes. Might have warmed up by then as well. Turn it up full. And the display will crap out halfway through, and like it normally does. 30 minutes the maximum. Must be 29 minutes. Bubble, bubble, toil and trouble. No, still the tap that's coming out. Right, I'll leave that to do its thing. Let's try again. That didn't work, it crashed straight away. That doesn't look too bad. It's just the plastic bits. It's okay. Bit of muck still on there. I ended up chucking that in as well, just for shits and giggles, because that was pretty hacky. So hopefully that's any residue or anything that was inside there that we couldn't get to. That should be out of there now. I need to blast out with the a bit of carb cleaner as well, just to get the rest of it. I just feel pretty shitty in there. That's interesting. I didn't notice a breather pipe when I pulled that off. Oh yeah, there is one. So that's the crankcase breather. So it re-ingests it in through the fuel port. And there you go. Unclean carburettor. In theory. Oh, the float bowls come up nice. It's stripped all the coloured coating off it that was on the outside, but at least it's clean now. It's got most of the crap out. There's still a bit there. I'll have to get a screwdriver in on that as well. We'll flush that out. Do that now before it sets. What did I do with this screwdriver? Nice and toasty anyway now, this water. I don't know how warm it is because there's a fault on this ultrasonic. The screen kicks out after a while, after you've been using it. Every now and again it just works, but every now and again it doesn't. So if you turn it off, turn it back on again, it comes on anyway, and then you just turn it back on. So it got up to 60, I'd set it for 60, so it got up to 53 degrees. Looks alright actually, it's not too bad. Got most of the crap out of it. I did increase the concentration on this stuff because obviously we'd lost a bit of it anyway. And I didn't feel it was cleaning it that well when I was using it on the bike parts. Still, it probably could do with another run through. There's still a bit of crap on there. I'll just get the toothbrush on that, or I'll blast it with some carb cleaner. That's it. Let's got it off. Carb cleaner will help it dry as well because it evaporate and take the water with it. You can do this similar thing with nail varnish remover too. That's the last bit of the puzzle. Right. Turn it off and we can drain that out. We can start putting it up in the air. We don't want you up in the air. We want you down here. You can't see anything. Right, let's get that out of the way. So we don't need to do that one. Just give this a quick wipe down. Yeah, that coating's come off, but never seen it strip that off before. Usually they come back okay, but it's just a finish for it. Right, that's clean. That's nice. Actually, the seals have cleaned up rather nice as well. They have swollen a little bit, but actually they've stayed in their housing, so that's okay. So the first thing we can put in is the sediment trap. Just give that a quick dry out. Fancy just putting a bit of grease on that just to stop it from seizing up. Shouldn't have a problem because they're the same metal. That should be okay. Right. Let's empty out my little pots of goodness. Sure I don't leave anything in there. That's the... Put that one in. What I will do is just give it a quick blowout with the airline. Not too quick though, because I don't want the generator turning off. Oh, nearly blew the seal out. I didn't want to do that. Oh well, it's turned back on anyway. Yeah, you've got to be careful with the airline. I've got it underneath the seal, and it's just popped the seal out. So I'm just going to see if I can tease it back in, because it will have swelled in the ultrasonic cleaner. That's just what it does to them. That's okay. Let's come back in. So we'll put this in. If I can remember which hole it went in. Just cleaned it out. There you go, that one there. Let's use this one because I don't know where the other one's gone. It's over there where I was poking. Wind it in, wind it in. So half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. I think it was 3, but I think that's a bit excessive. I don't think that's right. They're normally about 1.5. Right, just give this a quick blast out as well. Yep, you can see it sticking out the other end, so that's good. Just give the just my carb cleaner on. Just give the clean jet one last whiz out. Stick that down. Remember, don't over tighten these because you're going to be the one that gets it out next time. And future Mark will be thanking me that I didn't tighten it down too tight, just in case it comes back again. Right. So these are quite nifty. They've got a tension spring on them that keeps the tension on them. So all you need to do is just pop it up into there and then slide it back. And that's it. Drop it down the hole. Go on, in you go. That's good. That's all we're bothered about. Does it cut it off? So normally you want this so it's accessible from the outside, which I think if that's on there, that's going to have to go about there, I would guess, to make it accessible. If I've got this the right way round. Yes, yeah, that's at the front. So if we put that exit there, if this is sat on it, that's accessible, yeah. Sometimes you put them at the opposite side to the float, but it's slightly different on this. So we'll put that one in last. Seal looks good on this, we don't need to replace the seal. Again, don't crank these down too hard. It's only a couple of Newton meters, so it's good and tight. If you're a German torque wrench. Right. Oh, this is where we find out we haven't put everything in we needed to put in. So that goes down there. It just pops into place. That's it. I think that's it. I hope that's it. That sits on the top of it. And then that goes in there and holds it in place. And Bob is your aunt and Fanny is undoubtedly your uncle. That goes on there and into that hole, and then we're all good. Let's stick that on then. Right, the fun and games commence. What you can do is you can smear a bit of grease over that, but I don't want to because I'm not entirely sure where the holes are, but we'll just need to check I didn't bend that when I was taking it off. So we'll tease that in, put that on like that, and then find out that we can't get it over these, and I'll have to take it off again. Oh, just. Oh! Right. I think that's it. Just check that throttle function's okay. Tension is stretching, so that's good, I can see that. Right, no cracks or anything in there, so that's good. I think we can stick the rest of it together now. That was the other bit. So I think we decided that there was only one way that could go on, which is like that. And we've got the airbox. It's only really that bit there that matters if it seals. This bit out here, it doesn't really matter. So all we've got to do now is just feed that over there, but make sure as well that these are in the right place to go through the holes, the levers. It's near enough. That's it. Just need those screws on there now. Check we've got no bits missing and we've not forgotten anything. No, they're all good. Right, it was the funny snubby nose things on the end of there. And there was one odd bolt to screw the top down. There is a torque setting for these, but I'm relying on my good judgment to make sure I get it the right thing. It's more, you're more bothered about over tightening these than under tightening it. So that's good enough. It looks like it's in about the right place. So we've got two bolts that are identical, one bolt that's not. So I'll take the executive decision that that's the bolt that goes in there. Right, so I have got a dummy fuel line hung up here, but I don't think it's quite going to read. No, what we got? Come on. There we go. It's probably not the best use of an electric cable, but trust me when I say it's not plugged in. Honest, Gov, it's not. It's the old table saw cable. I disconnected it. So all I'm bothered about is we get a bit of fuel in here. Right, so if I shove that on there, hopefully this is the right diameter. It's not the easiest thing to get in there, so I would recommend putting the fuel pipes on before you put the carburettor back on. I have to drop this carburettor back off if I can't get this over. God, stop being awkward. I think I've got the breather valve. There we go, the breather's in now. Let me just squirt a bit of expensive WD-40. WD-40-like substance. Come on. Okay, let's get it off again then. It's going to be like that. I suspect the fuel pipe I'm trying to shove on is too small for this. But what I haven't got, actually I suppose I could put a filter on the end of it. There we go. It's on now. God, you're an awkward Eric, you aren't you? I've got a clone of one of these engines on the chipping machine. It's just gone under the house, and that's exactly the same setup as this. I mean, they are literally a clone. All the plastics, the cowling, everything's identical. And a lot of the parts are interchangeable as well, from what I can see. So a lot of the parts you buy to fix these that are non-standard Honda parts are actually parts that are off the Honda clone engines. They are that much of a copy. You know, even this plastic arrangement here on the fuel taps and stuff like that are all the same. Chuck that in for shits and giggles, because let's see, right, just set all my gubbins free. Fuel. Because this isn't sketchy in the slightest. I haven't actually used this yet. This was something I bought for another project. I didn't end up doing it. It's ideal though if you want to tune motorbikes. because most of the time when you're doing the balancing your carbs or your throttle bodies, you've got to have the tank off to be able to get to the throttle body or the carb. Right, so if I turn that on, put the choke on, I should start whizzing fuel down there, because I think that's on. Well, that's on now. Normally that would be on. Right, I'm not seeing any leaks, so that's a good start. I'm assuming I've got fuel. Right, so we've got it onto chokes on. Of course, that's now hanging all the way across the starting cord. Let's give it a go. I think I've got everything. Is it running? Is it set to run? Yeah, it's on. Hopefully we've got fuel coming into the carburettor and not filling the engine up as we speak. That's interesting, it won't run with the choke off. Is it not warm enough yet? We've got a fuel starvation issue. Trouble is I don't... Oh, that's why. There's no fuel. It wasn't. That's opposite to everything else, but I've just noticed it says on and off. But normally when you have it straight down, it's on. Right, shall we try that again? That did smack of fuel starvation. That's quite funny. The switch shorts against the engine. I assumed it's got two wires, so one of those wires was going back to the engine, but it's not. It shorts through the cage, so I was turning it off and nothing was happening. So imagine my panic when it wouldn't turn off. Right, that's not bad. That fired up straight away. What I do need to do is check the RPMs. Oh dear, I'm in a right mess of that, haven't I? Thought I got a plastic curtain in there. I appear to have made a right mess. Let's see if I can fix that before we get any further. Silicone. I don't know whether that was carb cleaner or the other cleaner that did that then. Oh, they're good. They're right mess of the display. I thought it got a plastic coating, protective coating on it, but whatever it is I've sprayed on there appears to have taken a massive dislike to the I suspect that was the carb cleaner that's done that. Like I said, I thought it had got a plastic cover on it. It looks alright when it's lit up. Yeah, that's fine. Right, stop faffing with that, crack on with this. What do we need to do now? Yes, we need to check the we need to check we are set up right. So let's plug this in too. Get my toy out, which may or may not be working. Function hertz, that's okay. And let's, where are you, light? So I think it does work better if you've got some kind of a drawer on it. So we'll hang that there. Fuel's still on. Any sign of leakage? No, we're all good. So I don't know if you saw that. We ended up with, you're still recording? Yep, good. 243 volts, bang on 50 hertz, spot on. I could load it up a bit more. I'm not sure what I've got in here that would load it up, but I think that's spot on. That I'm reasonably pleased with that. So we'll leave that there. It's nice and warm and moist. That ran up straight away. So the only thing we need to do now is just give it a service. Your battery's flat as well, so it needs a new air filter and it needs an oil change. So while the oil's hot, I'm tempted to get that out now, but I can't do much more while the thing's got some evapor rust in it. And also got to remember that goes on there. No, that's spot on. Pleased with that. Fires straight up. We'll just do a quick video for Jerry as well, and then we'll call it a day for the night.